Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you all are doing well. This is Muhammad Badruddin back again with another vulnerability module named as cross-origin resource sharing from PortSwigger Web Security Academy. So before going to solve any lab, I just wanna briefly describe what CORS is all about. So what happened? Browsers enforce the same origin policy. Origin here, once I say origin, you can consider it as a domain. Fine. So there is same origin policy which browser enforces to restrict web pages from making requests to a different domain than the one that served the web page. So browsers actually do not want the web page or any origin or any domain to interact with any other domain to access its resources. And this is very restrictive, and we want some flexibility in this same origin policy. So cross origin resource sharing is a controlled relaxation of this same origin policy, which allows servers to specify which origins are permitted to access their resources via HTTP headers like access control allow origin. Fine. Like you can see here. So when you see in the request, we have one header named as origin, and this origin could be trusted or could be the same origin as this site or could be different. Okay, and in the response, when you see access controlled allow origin, okay, that means CORS is being implemented in this scenario. So now what happened that CORS or cross origin resource sharing vulnerability arises when a web application improperly implements these CORS policies, which allow unauthorized cross origin access to its resources. And it is actually security feature in browsers that control how the web page from one origin or domain can request resources to another origin or domain. Fine. So I would highly recommend you guys to read all of these content. This is very, very important for you to understand. And if you read this, you will find the same thing what I describe now. So like I said, same origin policy. So if you read this, the same origin policy is a restrictive cross origin specification that limits the ability for a website to interact with resources outside of the source domain. So the same origin policy was defined many years ago in response to potentially malicious cross domain interactions. So, but this is very restrictive. So you need some relaxation in same origin policy. Further, you can read more about same origin policy by clicking on this. Okay. So this is what you can see here. ACAO stands for access control allow origin. Okay, so if you see in the header by specifying request header origin and you find the same value within the response header in the access control allow origin, that means you can check for weaknesses within the CORS, and CORS is being implemented in this scenario. So for that purpose, I'm just going to access the lab number 1 passing through burp proxy. Let's go and access the lab. So before accessing the lab, you can see CORS vulnerability with basic origin reflection. The website has an insecure CORS configuration in that it trusts all origin, and this is the problem. Even if you have some third-party trusted origins, you need to make sure that your website or your application do not interact with any other origin except those trusted third-party origins. Now to solve the lab, craft some JavaScript that uses CORS to retrieve the administrator's API key and upload the code to your exploit server. The lab is solved when you successfully submit the administrator's API key, and we have these credentials. So without wasting time, I'm just going to access the lab. Okay, we have here. Now I'm just going to log in with the username Wiener and the password Peter. Okay, so as we log in, you can see we are in the user's dashboard or user's homepage where we can see our API key. The task is we need to get the administrator's API key. Now you can see this is the post request for login, and after login we get into the winner's homepage. And if you see the response of this request, anything interesting here? There are some scripts which you can see here. So this basically fetch this endpoint which include the credentials, and it is taking it into the JSON format and get element by ID, which is API key. So if you see this endpoint account details, you will find these details. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do, because in this request specifically we find the API keys and session key, so I'm just going to send this request to the repeater. Go to the repeater, and first of all I'm gonna test whether I get the correct response or not. So response is okay. But in this response, why this request is important for me, because in this response I saw one response header that belongs to cross origin resource sharing, which is access control allow credentials. Now to test the core, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add here origin request header, and I'm gonna specify anything, let's say example.com, this origin, and I'm gonna send the request. So once I send the request, you can see within the response I found one more response header belongs to CORS, named as access control allow origin, and the same URL or domain is reflected what we put in the request within the request header origin. Fine. So that means CORS is there, and we can also access or send requests to cross origin or different domain. Now we need to exploit this one, because we already have one exploit server which can be considered as attacker controlled server. Okay, and with this, within this attacker controlled server, I'm gonna host one JavaScript which will basically access this one, then take the information and send it, redirect it to our exploit server within the query string. So to save the time, you can directly copy that script from the solution, or okay, so I'm just going to do that to save the time, and we need to just change few things. Like here I'm gonna copy this one and paste it here, saying https colon / and paste rest of the domain name. Second thing, / and then put our exploit server. So copy that and paste it here. It will be better to put this. Okay, now that is perfect. Just I'm going to describe what basically this script will do. So in this first line, we basically are creating an XML HTTP request which initializes a new XML HTTP request object to make an HTTP request. This second line is actually setting the callback, which defines a function named as request listener, and you can see I define this function here. Okay, and here we basically make one HTTP request by using HTTP method get, and we are making the request to this endpoint. Then we are putting this line because we want the session cookie or any authentication information, authorization information go with that request, and then we send the request. So once we send the request, what basically we are defining in this request listener, that it will redirect the browser to attacker's exploit server URL by appending the entire response as a text. Okay, so this is what we are doing. Store this exploit and deliver it to the victim, and if everything is fine, we should see response in the access log. So you can see username is administrator, email is nothing, there is API key, you can see API key, and what other information is there is session ID. So you can basically take this here, copy, and we can paste it in the decoder, paste that, smart decode, and you can see this is the session cookie, this is API key for the administrator. So I'm just going to Control C and back to our lab, and here we need to submit the solution. So we get basically the administrator's API key. Click OK, and you can see we solved the lab. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoy the lab, you understand the lab, and you understand what CORS is. So that's it for this video. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye.